everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of GSI News Weekly. I'm Bayo.
And I'm Wang. On today's show, we will tell you about the sentencing of the first person convicted in the Stanley Cup riots and the VPD's plea for public information on a police assault case during these riots.
Also, we will talk about the 54th Annual Grammy Awards from this past Sunday and the latest on the death of Whitney Houston. All this coming up on this week's edition of GSI News Weekly, starting right now.
This is GSI News Weekly.
On to our top story this week. On Thursday, a judge sentenced the first person convicted in the Stanley Cup riot to 17 months in jail. Ryan Dickinson, 20, admitted to trashing an unmarked police car and vandalizing a clothing store, but he claimed he was merely caught up in the moment and argued his crime were as serious as other rioters who were on the streets that night. But a provincial court judge rejected that argument. Dickinson pleaded guilty to participating in a riot as well as breaching bail conditions from an unrelated assault charge, and was sentenced to a lengthy 17-month jail time.
And the Vancouver police have recommended a fourth round of charges in the Stanley Cup riot investigation, but they are still trying to identify the person responsible for hurling a brick at an unsuspecting officer's face. That's pretty
harsh.
Yeah.
Like, that's low.
Yeah, you just don't do that to people.
Yeah.
In video of the assault, Constable Mike Lauren is seen outside of a Sport Check store on June 15th as a 2.4 kilogram brick crashes onto his forehead. Police are asking anyone with information about the assault to come forward. Police also announced Tuesday that 70 fresh charges have been recommended against 25 new suspects, including one accused in the gang beating of Good Samaritan Robert Paquet.
Okay. Four-man bridge construction crews are still unsure how long they will be off the job as a 720-ton gantry crane remains on its side after collapsing Friday. Investigators were on site over the weekend, but need more time to determine what caused the foot of the crane to collapse and drop a 90-ton building slab into the Fraser River. Work on the south approach to the bridge has resumed, but the north entry will remain closed until the investigation is completed, and WorkSafe BC clears it to reopen.
Mounties are warning Lower Mainland residents against parading their electrical gadgets out in public after a Surrey man was hospitalized in a brutal weekend attack by thieves trying to steal his cell phone. Police say they have seen a spike in reported cell phone and MP3 player robberies and recommend the public to be as discreet as possible when using electronic devices or to keep them out of sight, especially at night.
BC hydro rates are jumping almost 4% April 1st as a result of a decision by the BC Utilities Commission. But the NDP says the bigger story is the Commission's decision to double a surcharge hydro as to bill for an account to pay off deferred expenses. That surcharge, called the Deferral Account Rate Rider, will double from 2.5% to 5%, which Hydro says will add an average of $5 to customers' monthly bills on top of the 3.9% general rate hike.
A mild earthquake rumbled under Vancouver Island on Wednesday night. The U.S. Geological Survey says the 4.7 magnitude quake occurred at 10:37 p.m. Pacific time, west of Yucalec, BC. Several earthquakes have rattled the northwestern coast of North America since Monday, including a magnitude 6.0 shaker that occurred in the Pacific Ocean about 300 kilometers west of the coast of Oregon on Tuesday morning.
Starting today, Canadians will be able to use their Nexus cards in security lanes when flying to the United States from 8 Canadian airports. These airports are in Halifax, Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, and obviously Vancouver. Nexus is a 12-year-old joint venture of the Canadian and U.S. governments. This program allows border guards to move people who are not considered a security risk through customs faster. So travelers who appear to be high risk, like, never mind, no examples, can get a closer examination.
And speaking of the U.S., U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has announced a program to reduce emissions of common pollutants along with 5 other countries, including Canada, in an effort to combat global warming. Peter Canada's Environment Minister is in the U.S. Capitol for the announcement and says the alliance is an important one that will serve to reduce emissions and help counter climate change and work towards delivering a global solution to the global problem.
Now, on to some international news. The deadliest prison fire the world has seen in a century claimed 358 lives in an overcrowded Honduran jail. Officials said Wednesday. The jail in the Kamayagua province was at double capacity with 856 prisoners, when the blaze broke out around midnight Tuesday, said lead investigator and Supreme Court Justice Richard Ordonez. The fire started when an unidentified prisoner, probably Honduran, set his mattress ablaze. For what reason, we don't know. He's probably dumb. It's believed that some 475 inmates escaped during the fire. According to the United Nations, Honduras has one of the highest murder rates in the world. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon accused the Syrian regime of committing almost certain crimes against humanity Thursday as activists reported fresh violence and the arrest of several prominent descendants, including a US-born blogger. Speaking to reporters in Vienna, Ban demanded the Syrian regime stop using indiscriminate force against civilians caught up in fighting between government troops and President Bashar Assad's opponents. Syrian activists said government forces attacked Dara on Thursday, carrying out arrests and shootings randomly in the city, where the uprising against Assad erupted 11 months ago. They also reported intense clashes between army and defectors and government troops in the central province of Hama. The UN General Assembly is scheduled to vote for Thursday on an Arab-sponsored resolution strongly condemning human rights violations by the Syrian regime and backing an Arab League plan aimed at ending the conflict.
And now, on to some entertainment news. A concert goer is dead following a 5-person brawl in a Headley show in Dawson Creek, BC on Valentine's Day. A witness said the fight broke out near a concession area of the Adenekan event center just before the band began its set at Tuesday's night's show. Event security and paramedics found the victim unconscious. He was taken to Dawson Creek Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries.
Alright, the 54th Annual Grammy Awards took place last Sunday following the death of Whitney Houston. Very tragic.
Very tragic. No.
And here are some winners selected in major categories, and Adele was definitely a big winner on the night. Album of the Year, 21, Adele. Record of the Year, Rolling in the Deep.
By Adele?
Also by Adele, yes, of course. And Song of the Year, Rolling in the Deep, by Adele Atkins and Paul Epworth.
Wow, that must be a good song.
New artist Bon Iver, pop solo performance, Someone Like You. R&B song, For You. Okay.
Full For You.
Full For You, CeeLo Green, and Melanie Hamlin and Jack Splash. And the rap performance, of course, to my homies out there, Jay-Z and Kanye West. The song is called Otis. And yeah, okay.
Rap collaboration. All of the lights: Kanye West, Rihanna, Kid Cudi, and Fergie.
And country song Mean by Taylor Swift.
Obviously, it's Taylor Swift.
T-Swift Love. Oh, yeah. The awards show started with a prayer led by LL Cool J. I love LL Cool J. And Jennifer Hudson also performed a solo in memory of Whitney Houston.
And as we have mentioned already, one of the world's best-selling artists, Whitney Houston, has died in Beverly Hills, California on Saturday at the age of 48. That's pretty young, actually. So
yeah.
Here's a look back at what she has accomplished throughout the years.
And there it was, one of the greatest voices of her generation, with what seemed like limitless power and effortless precision.
If I'm at the top of my class, if I'm the #1 diva, I'm fine. If I've got to be #2, I ain't cool with it.
But the irony of Whitney Houston was that she sang with so much control and lived with so little. "The biggest devil is me," she once said. "I'm either my best friend or my worst enemy."
The investigation is ongoing, but at this time he's on a copy of charges and will appear back here in 2004.
Between a toxic and allegedly violent marriage to singer Bobby Brown and her own spiral of drug addiction, she would be in and out of court, in and out of rehab, in and out of work. There would be a comeback album in 2009.
It's not a comeback for me. I've been here. I've just been here. I just took a break.
But it was more than a break. The new album would sell, the tour would disintegrate in a trail of missed notes and canceled dates. The voice going, stardom going. Now the star herself, gone.
At 3:55 p.m. this afternoon, Whitney Houston was pronounced dead at the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
Dead at 48, Whitney Houston leaves behind songs like I Will Always Love You and countless fans who wish always could have been a little longer.
Recent reports have said that Whitney Houston was still alive when paramedics arrived at the Beverly Hills hotel room and found the singer unconscious in the bathtub, but emergency crews were unable to revive the stricken singer and she was later pronounced dead. They won't be there in person, but singer Whitney Houston's millions of fans worldwide will be able to share in her homecoming service Saturday as they watch her private funeral on the internet. It will provide a much-needed connection for fans who have lacked a formal place to eulogize Houston. Houston's funeral will be at New Hope Baptist Church, where she sang as a child. Her eulogy will be given by gospel singer Marvin Winnis, a Grammy Awards winner, and longtime family friend. Afterwards, Houston will be buried in Fairview Cemetery in Westfield, New Jersey, according to her death certificate.
And now we'll hand it over to Andrew Wang for some sports.
Thanks, man! Coming up in sports, beside your Vancouver Canucks highlights, we will talk the possibility for a new NHL team in Seattle, and the recent surge of Linsanity.
All I do is Lin, no matter what.
Asian pride, yeah. Okay, never mind. It's some top worst Jeremy Lin puns. All this coming up on part 2 of Lin's Week. Never mind. GSI News Weekly. Stay with us.
You're terrible.
We're talking about the word.